Good morning, all you cool cats and kittens. It is Monday. This is week six of Lowry at Home. Almost forgot the name of the show there for a second. It's week 6 of Lowry at Home. I'm your host, Naturalist Kirk. So excited to be with you. The sun is coming out. It's going to be a beautiful day. We're going to be in the 70s. I'm going to be ditching this sweatshirt pretty soon. We got some fun stuff for you. You know, I'm hearing birds in my yard here. The red-bellied woodpecker was just calling. You may have heard that. We just had a house wren show up, which Laurel showed you how to draw last week. Speaking of Laurel, she is our guest on the show this week, and she has with her a Merlin, not the Merlin the wizard, no, Merlin the bird. Yes, we still have more live animals to show you. Wow. Talking is difficult on Mondays, isn't it? Let's all take a moment and reflect on that. She's going to show us a bird today. Let's just go with that. Take it away.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. Today we are going to meet one of our other education birds here at Lowry Nature Center. This is a little different one from the bird that we met a couple weeks ago. First, I'm just going to bring the bird up closer to the camera so you guys can take a look. We can't meet this bird together in person, but one of the plus sides is in a video I can get super close to this bird. One of the things I like to do is to take a very close look at all the features of this bird and figure out, does it remind me of anything? Do I notice anything? Can I compare this bird to any other birds that I might be familiar with? What do all of you notice when you take a close look at this bird? Previously, we met the barred owl, and we have 3 education or teaching birds here at Lowry Nature Center. This is our smallest education bird. So, he's hanging out with me this morning. This is our Merlin. What did you guys notice that's different about this bird? Obviously, much smaller size. The Merlin is about the same size as a blue jay, and his wings are a very different shape. Let me bring him around this way. You can get him to spread his wings out to help with his balance. And he's much louder. This guy talks quite a bit if he's got complaints, so we will hear about those. But these wings, the different shape, they're more pointed, and this bird is a member of the falcon family. Falcons are birds that are hunting other animals for their food. Barred owls do that too, but the animals these guys are hunting are very fast. They hunt other birds. So these pointed wings allow the Merlin to maneuver in really tight areas. This guy would migrate through this part of Minnesota. He wouldn't nest here, wouldn't necessarily live here. He would go farther north up to where we have coniferous trees and would find a nesting area in that sort of habitat. In this part of Minnesota, during spring and fall, we might hear that call from Merlin, and they're often spotted, particularly if there's areas with evergreens where these guys can rest during their migration. Now, each of our birds that is here for a reason. They have an injury that means they can't go back to the wild because they can no longer hunt. This one, if you look at the wing closest to you guys, he's missing about half of his wing. He's missing the primaries that he would need to fly really quickly. So, because of that, he's with us. The Merlin was hit by a car early on in his life, in his first year, and that injury, with bird bones, when bones break, they shatter for birds. With humans, when you break, you usually only get a few areas of fracture, and we can fix that. Birds, not so much. We can't put this guy in a cast. He's not going to hold still and let those bones knit back together, and frankly, even if you went in as a surgeon, you couldn't find all of those pieces. So, because of that, he is with us. He couldn't go back to the wild. You can imagine, I'm going to bring him up close again, see if you can take a look at his feet. For the size of this bird, he has enormous feet. I compare it to, say, as a human, my feet were the size of water skis, really, really big. It's kind of similar for him. He has these big feet because as he's cruising through the air, he's looking for other songbirds he could go after, and he will use those feet to fly up, knock a songbird out of the air, and eat it. He'll fly down to the ground or up to a perch with that bird so that he can eat it for his prey. He would also go after insects, and there's another very similar falcon. It's a little bit smaller, not by much, the American kestrel, and that is another falcon that we have in areas similar to where we are here in Minnesota. Okay, let's talk about some falcon features, why this guy is so special. A couple things, it's super bright out today. A lot of our birds that are hunters during the day have little stripes on their faces. So if you look closely under his eyes, just a second, he's got some really cool eye stripes. If I was a falcon, I could not fly around with my sunglasses on. So those eye stripes, you can see them running vertically from below the eye down his cheek. Those act like sunglasses, and it helps block some of the sunlight that might otherwise bounce back up into his eyes. And let me tell you, today, I'd be in a world of hurt without my sunglasses. The other thing that he's got, which helps him hunt during the day, is he's got a little eyebrow. And you can look, that eyebrow helps shade his eyes, and it helps him see a little bit better in bright sunlight. Also, he has really big eyes. Brett probably mentioned with the barred owl, those eyes are enormous for the size of that bird's skull. Well, the Merlin isn't that dissimilar. He's got really big eyes also, but his are probably better at color vision in order to see and discern things during the daylight. He's a little nervous out here with me. We're outside, and you notice him looking around. First of all, I haven't been out with him in a while, so that might be part of it. But also, he's checking all around in the treetops to make sure there's not a bigger bird of prey that could come after him. He's beginning to calm down here a little bit. You notice I keep saying it's a he. This is a male Merlin, and if you look at the feathers on his back, they're grayish, kind of blue-gray. And this guy, we had a female Merlin for many years, and she had a more brown coloration overall. And this guy, the males have this really pretty silvery blue color. All right, so he's got the eye stripes. He's got a hooked beak, just like all of our raptors. He's got his specialized toes or talons for grabbing his food, and he's got his big feet. Couple other features that are unique, because he would be living in a forest area much of the time. He has very pointed wings. If you compare this bird to our owl, the owl has very broad, kind of wide wings, and I think of those as wings that go with a slower flying bird. That's a bird that's just taking its time, cruising around, often hunting from a perch. This guy will perch also, but once he is keyed in on his prey, he's going to take off and he has to outfly it. So he's a sprinter, and if you're chasing stuff down in a woods, you have to be super maneuverable. You can believe a songbird is going to be pretty wily in trying to stay away from this guy. So he's going to have to outmaneuver that songbird, or he's not going to have much luck with catching his food. Raptor beak and talons to go after food, super maneuverable wings, and excellent camouflage. Merlins are pretty cool birds. So, that's a little short intro to our Merlin. This bird is at Lowry Nature Center. You can come visit this bird whenever you're out at Lowry. Keep in mind, he's very, very shy. Of our three birds, this is probably the toughest one to spot. So when you're out here, make sure, if you want to see this guy, come up on a nice sunny day. He likes to hang out in the sunshine. Make sure you're behind that fence line when you're viewing all of the birds, but particularly this one. And you might have to sit and hang out for a little bit in order to spot this guy. If you're super quiet, he might actually come out of his hide box, and you would have a chance to say hello to him. All right, thanks for taking a few minutes to learn about this super cool bird of prey, and we'll see you next time for our next Lowry at Home. Bye.
That was great, Laurel. Thank you so much for doing that. And thank you, dear viewers. Remember, if you have questions about that bird, put them in the comments right now, and Laurel will answer those questions on Friday's show. Let's see what else. I wanted to tell you that there are other things we are doing at the Nature Center. You know, this Lowry at Home was sort of one of our first attempts to find something to bring content to you during this time, but I know a lot of you are coming out to Carver Park to enjoy our trails out there. So one of the things we are doing now is right in front of the Nature Center, we have an A-frame set up that has interactive things that you can look for on the trails. We're going to be putting more signage and things on the trails that have like QR codes on them so you can scan them and see a video of us teaching you about something on the trails. There's going to be activities you can download, all kinds of cool stuff. So when you come into Carver Park, be sure to swing by the Nature Center, check out our A-frame and see what kind of cool activities there are to do this week. We're going to be switching those all the time, so be looking for that. I'll be telling you more about some of those things coming up. We're so happy to have you here as part of our family, and you guys have a good, safe, fun day, and we'll see you here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bye-bye.